So I thought I'd just make a really quick video on Bitcoin. Today is the 22nd of July. It is just before pre-market trading for the American stock market, but it's evening here in Australia and excuse me, my voice is not great today. I have not shut up for like 12 hours, but as you can see here, we look like we are forming a bullish pennant on the Coinbase 4-hour chart is what I'm going to be using. I've got my TIA Gann swing indicator set to the 2-bar swing, and you can clearly see we've got 1, 2, 3 being a fake out and a fourth touch point, which is so far looking like a rejection. But as Michael says, diagonal trend lines generally have a lower probability of playing out than a horizontal trend line, which is what we saw somewhere back here, a really clean fourth time breakout, which led to this massive acceleration upwards. You can go watch his videos over on YouTube. It's Michael Pezzino. We all know who he is. I constantly talk about him. But obviously, we have not reached the tip of the pennant, so potentially in the next 1 or 2 bars, which would be the S&P 500 NASDAQ New York session, we could actually get this breakout and confirmation. So we could either get a higher low or we could just have a straight move up without a higher low. Because as Michael says, towards the end of the cycle, moves can get really extreme and we may not see higher lows and pullbacks like people expect or have gotten used to. Now, on the other side, we do potentially have a Wyckoff distribution pattern in play, and it's not confirmed because if you remember what Michael says, he wants closes and lower highs under around $116,500. And right now, we are barely able to get a close, let alone a lower high. But I can't seem to match either a distribution or a reaccumulation pattern. Now, coming over to Cowboy's server, which is another guy I talk about, Cowboy Trades, used to make videos, not anymore. But he does have a free Discord server, so if you would like to trade with me without paying for TIA, feel free to come and join me over there. And we can see we have only seen $500 million of long liquidations today on the Wix. And if I can find my Safari over here, we are at around $550 million of liquidations, which, as Michael says, because the markets are really greedy, there's a lot of retail back, we do want to see over $1 billion of liquidations. Now, one thing I'm potentially eyeing off is obviously the bullish pennant that I talked about, but also the Wyckoff distribution schematic 2. And as you can see, we do need closes and lower highs under both the AR and the SOW here, which in this case would be 116,600 and 115,600. Obviously, these prices are going to vary depending on what exchange you look at. They can vary by $100 to $300. But point being aside, we have not seen any lower highs under either of these levels. So distribution has not been confirmed. Now, if we look at the accumulation, now, generally, accumulation happens when price falls into a pattern and distribution happens when it rises. So we can look at this entire range starting from the 11th of July as potential distribution, with this being an upthrust in phase B. So potentially something like this, whilst we look at the BC point over here as something potentially being here. However, another possible way that we could look at it is the spring, which is usually very characteristic of accumulation. Now, we have not gotten that spring here because we have not taken out this low, at least on Coinbase. And over on Bybit, I am on the 1-hour chart, but again, you can see we have made a higher low. So, what I think might happen, also what I've been talking about for weeks now, about 2 weeks, is we want to get this nice wick down, potentially to as low as 113,000, see that $1 billion of liquidations, and form a really nice spring, which would confirm accumulation. Because I think Michael said in his video yesterday, a nice close back above, say, 117,000 or 118,000 with a big long wick on maybe something like the daily chart would be very nice to reset sentiment, perhaps back to neutral, because I believe we are trading in greed. Is it extreme greed yet? Yeah, not extreme greed yet, but a sentiment reset would be nice. Now, as you can see, obviously, to get confirmation of accumulation, we would want to see closes and higher lows or a clean move above our resistance lines, which in this case, if we're drawing the accumulation schematics, counting this as a price falling, we would want to use these tops of $120 and $121,000, which I believe Michael in his video today drew a rectangle for us. If I can find my rectangle tool. Geez, I don't even know how to use TradingView by the looks of it. We'll just use the parallel channel tool. So I think he drew a rectangle something like this, saying that that was our high risk of failure zone, which was pretty much exactly what I'm talking about as well. So we do need to see closes and higher lows above that to confirm accumulation. And basically, yeah, we are pretty much range bound because there is another accumulation schematic, which I think is also not validated yet, or has been invalidated in just the last 2 days with these wicks here, because you can see not every accumulation needs to have a spring as per Wyckoff. So if we don't take out this SC low and we just make what looks almost like a rounding bottom pattern, it did look like we were making that rounding bottom pattern until we saw this flush out yesterday at the, so this is 6 a.m. my time. So it would be the Sunday night flush out for the American session. So because we've gotten that flush out, this accumulation schematic is not valid. So this is why I'm kind of confused as to what the next move could be, because we've got this fourth time breakout potential, but we have so far gotten rejected. Again, it's not confirmed because today's stock market session has not yet opened. We haven't gotten the spring because this low hasn't been taken out. But also, we aren't getting closes and lower highs under either of our important lows. So, as Michael said in his video today, I guess we just have to follow the market really closely, potentially on a 1 hour or even a 15-minute chart, have our alerts set, and be prepared for the market to go either way. That's pretty much all for today. Yeah, thank you all for watching.